Well, it's time to hop into our next topic, folks, and that is going to be this situation we have with Guardians of the Galaxy, the situation we have with Little Mermaid, the situation we have with Disney being in an awful spot. Let's take a look at this. Out of IndieWire, yesterday at 3 p.m., not sure which time zone that was, but it doesn't really matter that much. Tom Brueggemann, May box office could hit $950 million, powered by the Guardians of the Mario Brothers. Guardians of the Galaxy estimates are soft post Quantumania, but the Super Mario Brothers will be there to pick up the slack. Now, this is very interesting to me because Guardians was one of Disney's best, if not only, chances to make $1 billion. And it's not even going to get the month to $1 billion any longer. Super Mario Brothers is supposed to be going down. And here it is being used as an example of how it's going to help the month of May get close to $1 billion. But remember, Guardians was supposed to get the $1 billion. This is one of Disney's only chances. The entire month is not going to get it. The entire industry for the month is not going to get it. Fascinating stuff. Here we go. Well, that's awkward. We predicted a healthy $650 million box office for April and missed the mark by a lot. The month's total was $900 million. Yeah, you should watch this channel more. You should watch Valiant Renegade more. Watch the rest of us. Thanks to the overwhelming overperformance of the Super Mario Brothers movie. Is it really an overperformance when we were telling you the entire time it was going to do that? Really? Really?
I think it's called successful.
That's right. Which initial projections placed at $250 million for its 24 days in April. Yeah, you guys are the experts, though. Goes on to talk about some other ones. April also introduced an unexpected question as the summer begins with the traditional Disney Marvel release. Will SMB Super Mario Brothers suggest a surge in expectations, or does it mean with perhaps a $650 million domestic total? We've already seen the release of 2023's top title. That is possible, although I don't think so because of Mission Impossible. 3 May openings will give strong hints. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 opens Friday, tomorrow, although it's open today. Strange, isn't it? Last year, Doctor Strange, and this is a big part. Everybody pay close attention to this one. Last year, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness debuted the same date to initial $187 million. Projections for the Guardians 3 debut, even with movie tickets up, are about 2/3 of that. Coming off the disappointing Antman and the Wasp Quantumania at $213 million, guesses are conservative. Even so, there are 2 big reasons to project that May 2023 may beat both May 2022 and April 2023, with a potential $300 million take for Guardians 3. Now, wait a minute. $300 million. Not good, folks. This was supposed to be the one that gave them a shot at $1 billion, and we're saying for the entire month of May, it's got a potential for $300 million. Now, I know we're talking about domestic versus worldwide. $300 million as a potential is not good domestic. Along with substantial contributions from 3 other titles, this month could total $950. Super Mario Brothers could easily be the number 2 film for this month, with the potential for another $125 to $150 million more in the period. Other holdovers this May might add another 60 to 75. Now, it brings up The Little Mermaid later. It says that it takes the 2023 Memorial Day placement with 6 days of play in the month. But, as we have seen, even The Little Mermaid is now looking like it is not going to make much money, if any, and perhaps it won't make any at all. Let's go to the panel now. This is quite disturbing in terms of just the fact that we're not even going to hit $1 billion for the entire month, everything put together. This was not supposed to be the way things were supposed to play out. Lorena, what do you think about this? Why is it that reviews are not terrible for Guardians, yet the box office projections seem to be? What's causing it?
I think it's a combination of things. One, Marvel movies not being what they used to be. 2, the tone of the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 movie is not that same upbeat, zany band of misfits from the first 2 movies. Camera Girl, who I said she's not into Marvel, but she loves Guardians of the Galaxy, she saw the trailer for this one and she noped out. She was just like, no, I'm not interested in seeing it. It just has such a dark tone and not really in a good way. Very much so, especially when you go straight for using Rocket for that. I felt some kind of way about that. I did not like that didn't like that at all. So that doesn't look really all that great. The live action Little Mermaid is going to make money its first weekend, but after that, it's going to sink faster.
Lorraine, have you seen the sisters? Have you seen Ariel's sisters for this new movie?
Yes, and I have lots of questions. I have lots of questions. It's a kids movie, but I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say, you know,
I'm loving that I know what the question is.
Yeah.
I'm Triton Garvin, male prostitute.
Yeah.
For everyone out there in the audience who doesn't understand, The Little Mermaid, so the lore that they're developing for this movie has her having many sisters, and apparently they rule all of these different oceans in this fantasy world that looks very much like regular Earth, but without North America. Make of that what you will. But all of her sisters appear to be of all different varieties of ethnicities and racial backgrounds. One thing missing, there are no Irish-looking ethnicities involved in her sisters. That's just gone again.
Is it
I wonder why.
I thought it was King Triton. Is it Genghis Khan in this movie? Is that?
I have another question.
He got around.
Bardem is playing a Mongolian warlord. Yes.
Yeah.
I have another question. If we're going to get a sequel, is it going to have like a Jerry Springer segment on like who is actually the father?
And let's all take a moment for the passing of Jerry Springer.
What do you mean?
And now back.
Say, what about Maori?
Maury, you are
Maury, yeah.
not the father.
Even Montel though. Montel would pull it off too, right?
It's just, I look at this and I'm just like, okay, just plain old booty calls going wrong when I see all her sisters.
Well, is it booty
And
if
it all
it's a fish?
smells like fish.
Oh, I knew he was going to do it.
Got him.
Now, Valiant, you have looked deeply at what's going on with Guardians and why it is not rising to the level as we all get over that stink. But Valiant, what is going on with the customer base right now with Guardians that explains this to some degree?
Oh, lordy. Yeah, you can talk about Guardians all you want. Just don't put the word flop in the title of your video because Disney is on the lookout for that right now. Man.
And more. Yeah. You actually talked about that before you came on the video.
Yeah.
Before you came in today, we talked about how we're going to have to be very careful. And so everybody in the audience, if you see us come out with a video on either of our channels where we say, greatest movie ever, it's the best Marvel film you've ever seen.
Expect that Saturday and Sunday for me. I'm just telling y'all now. I've already got them.
Well, maybe they have me in a special bucket because my video or live stream talking about the live Little Mermaid movie. That's still monetized. I guess
it's
much
not
longer.
Demonetization. Well, no, it's not that. That's not on the radar yet. And I did a video on Twitter today, and I was like, I had 2 videos over the weekend talking about long-range box office projections right now for Indy 5 and Little Mermaid, which are 1 and 2 months away from now. Almost 150,000 views between those 2 videos. I put out a video this morning about Guardians of the Galaxy is set to flop this weekend, and I put that in the title, a movie that's coming out today, and it got absolutely shanked on YouTube. I mean, they killed it after the first hour. It just rolled off. It's performing worse than some videos I did on late night TV talk show host a couple days ago.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Dang right. But in the video, the key is this, what's happening to the demos. I went through great detail about all the research from Box Office Pro, from Deadline Magazine, everything that we've seen out there. The reason that Guardians is opening at for a Guardians movie, 110 million open is pathetic. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 did 147 million almost its opening weekend 6 years ago.
I was about to say, look at inflation.
If you scale, if you scale it up, and I did this in the video this morning, if you scaled the butts and seats up with today's ticket prices, you're talking about an opening for Guardians 3. If it just brought in the same audience, would be close to 200 million. Instead, it's going to be $40 million less, potentially, than what we saw 6 years ago to open. And Marvel movies, you can typically set your watch by. I mean, the 2.5x is what they've been doing in phases 4 and 5, right up until Antman 3, of course, which did a 2.02 set of legs from its opening weekend. That movie died. And I said a month ago, or whenever that movie, 2 months ago now, when that movie came out, I said, that's it. I said, I don't think Guardians 3 is immune anymore. The stink of phases 4 and 5, no matter how good this movie may be. And there are people who are liking it. I get that, and that's fine. Enjoy the movie. But the fact is that the actual financial performance of this is going to suffer tremendously from the garbage that Marvel has largely put out in the last 2 years.
Van, I have a question. Those 5 people that did enjoy this movie, can they make enough money buying tickets to make Disney break even? Those 5 people?
I don't think so, because the men have left. That's the demographic problem. The reason the box office is where it is this weekend and it's skewing female is because the men have left. The audience isn't skewing female now because there's a bunch of girls all of a sudden showing up to see Chris Pratt like Deadline kind of tried to make it out to be. It's like, no, you have to take that in account with the fact that the box office projections are so much lower than 6 years ago, especially when you factor in inflation. If it's skewing female now, that means the guys are gone. They've quit. They've left. They don't give a flip anymore. I mean, they just,
Wolf,
this is done.
Wolf, is it time to hit the panic button over at Marvel?
Honestly, it ought to be. And rare on-camera appearance for me. But I didn't want to make Valiant or the lovely Lorena feel alone.
Well, you look spiffy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But honestly, yes, they really should. I don't know if they actually will, because I don't know if they have that level of self-realization and self-acknowledgement in their own failings. But this just goes to show that no matter how big your brand is, you can damage it. There was the longest time people thought Disney is too big to fail, Marvel's too big to fail, Star Wars is too big to fail. But you know what? You gave us year after year after year of nothing but ideology instead of story. You gave us your personal social narrative over the narrative that we wanted to see these characters in these worlds go through. And what happened? We started to check out. You told us, well, this wasn't made for you. So we're like, bet. See you later. We're going to go maybe make it our darn selves. And that's what we started doing. And even though there have been instances now where we see some stuff that's either fairly inoffensive, maybe it's mediocre, so it's not just outright garbage or dog water, or maybe even some instances here and there where we see something that's even good, the brand has been damaged so much now where people are just like, I'm just not interested anymore.
Understand that.
Sorry.
Now, it's not just Guardians, though, that is in deep trouble. Let's take a look at this out of Deadline today.
Yep.
And this by Anthony D'Alessandro. Little Mermaid to do backflips over Memorial Day weekend with $110 million opening box office early look. Now, one of the issues I take with some of these writers, and I like D'Alessandro, but 110 million is not doing backflips. I don't know what the backflips are supposed to mean, but this is a flop.
And there's another caveat to it as well, Pro.
All right. Do you know what that is, or should I go ahead and read?
So if you want to read it, no, I was...
Okay. I didn't know if you were setting something up or if you wanted to go ahead with it.
Well, no, well, it's right there in the first line. That
Right, let's take a
110 is 4 day.
Oh, a 4 day. 4
that
day.
includes
Yeah.
Memorial.
4
That
day
is
holiday.
Not, yeah.
So
that's
it's
not a
sub 100.
4-day.
So it's a sub 100 for a 3 day. That's
Well,
terrible.
the 70 to 90 million that Box Office Pro that we talked about a couple days ago, that holds because they're including about another maybe 20 to 30 million on a Monday.
That's impressively bad. That's less. So we are now projecting that The Little Mermaid will make in its first weekend or its first 3 days less than half of the Mario Brothers. Well, let's do a 4 day versus 5 day. Less than half on that, right? Because Mario was a weird opening. Mario
Well, the next line it tells you it's 50 million less than Top Gun Maverick on the same exact weekend with a 4 day.
And Top Gun Maverick, we need to say too, that movie opened soft compared to what it did in its full run.
Yes.
So, a lot of people will hear Top Gun Maverick and be like, "Oh, well, that's no big deal. That movie was awesome. It made so much money." Remember, it had a massive leg out. We'll go ahead and read this though. Disney's live-action take of the 2 times Oscar-nominated animated feature, The Little Mermaid, officially landed on tracking today for what looks to be a 110 million 4-day opening. That will land the movie among the top 8 openings for the holiday. Good Lord. With all of this inflation, how could it not? Last year's Paramount Top Gun Maverick scored a record start of 160.5 million. Of course, Little Mermaid is female-heavy, particularly with those under 25. Disney's top opening at the Memorial Day weekend box office belongs to 2007's Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End with 153. And let's just say, going all the way back to 2007, for that to be still up there at the number 1 slot means way more people went to see that film than will go see Little Mermaid.
That was a massive film.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The
Packs.
studio's live-action animated movie Aladdin debuted to a 4-day 116 back in the pre-pandemic 2019. So it's less than Aladdin. We'll see if it can even hit those numbers. As we have been watching recently with these Disney movies, they don't hit their projections. They drop and drop and drop. This has been happening over and over again. Guys and girls, what's going on with The Little Mermaid?
I think it's fine. Excuse me. I think it's finally showing that the way Disney has been using actors and actresses in a billboard format, it is now reflecting that they are no longer caring about the entertainment again. Like we're seeing this hand over foot, and now it's actually showing that it could be insulting to the careers of these people who are brought into these franchises to be that next prince or princess. Well, with Disney, more princess, and you're pretty much saying they're not good enough without even doing so, while claiming everyone else is racist because you used them as the prop to begin with. That and the extended time, and people are tired of the main thing. Disney is single-handedly not only destroying Disney itself, Marvel, and Star Wars, some of the biggest out there that everyone has grown up on. They are now taking it and turning it into a platform as the way Kurtzman did with Star Trek, but it's not a platform of anything more than ideals. And people don't want to go to the theater for ideals. They don't want to waste $80 to feel like they wasted it for a good time with their family. They want to have a good memory. And I don't think their industry in film is delivering any of that. While it's closed,
that's a great point.
Minds are closed, are open.
Stephen, what you're alluding to is what we have talked about with people inside of all of these different industries who say, going to the movies for a family is not just about the movie. It is a full experience. They go out to eat. They go get the Happy Meals. They go to Walmart, Target, etc. They get an action figure or a toy or a doll. And when Disney puts people in positions where they have to talk about things they don't want to talk about, then they just check out and they say, never mind, Mario just lets me have fun. And we're going to take the kids and go have fun.
Disney has pretty much Bud Lighted themselves.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah.
They have. Look at this. Look at this. We can go into the merch sales, right? Like it's showing all over the board. Valiant and Pro both do great numbers. Lorena delivers the parks. Everyone has seen those videos and seen the downward spiral. Pretty much at this point, Disney needs to come out in the next annual meeting and literally have one of the Tool songs play. That's how depressing it is.
Speaking of merchandise, and I posted this on Twitter, I saw something for a Disney film that I've never seen happen before. I turn on my Fire TV. Amazon has this ad up. Watch the teaser for the live action Little Mermaid, and we will give you 3 months of Amazon Music Unlimited for free.
No thanks.
Really?
I have never seen that. I
heard
had
about
to
that,
snap a picture of it. I said, so you're kind of in a way trying to pay people to get interested in this film why the heck would kids be interested in this film? Because the parents have to basically explain why Ariel's black now.
So, okay, well, look, folks, perfect example right there. I didn't even know they were doing this. They do all kind of stuff these days, especially with social media and all these online platforms. What Lorena just described, that is a paid piece of the global P&A for The Little Mermaid. When I tell folks out there, all these Marvel movies, Guardians of the Galaxy included, Antman 3, all of these things, Little Mermaid, this is why pretty much every major Disney production like this, throw out maybe some of the Pixar and some of the Disney animation studios for a moment. Marvel, things like Little Mermaid, $150 million. Every time. Global marketing, every one of these movies. $200 million budget, $250 million budget, $150 million goes in the ground. That right there, how much is Disney paying for that? Because Amazon is not giving away Amazon Music for free for 3 months to watch the Disney trailer.
No,
Disney is paying for that. They are buying that.
That's right.
Watch this trailer. How many millions is that costing Disney? And that goes into the marketing budget for Little Mermaid. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. People think I'm crazy, but no.
Here's a question.
No, we always think you're
does
crazy.
that amount
Well,
does that amount equal more than the price of a ticket
in this world?
Doubtful. I mean, they're probably getting a large group prorated thing, and probably for everybody who clicks on that trailer and gets their 3 months, Disney might be paying but probably maybe between $5 and $10, maybe not even that much. Maybe a couple of pennies. Amazon. It's easy for Amazon to use that as a, hey, look, Disney, other big marketing partners, you can buy this, we'll give you a cheap rate. What does it cost Amazon to give somebody 3 months of access to their system for free? Virtually nothing, right? So they can sell that cheap in bulk to companies like Disney to do marketing campaigns like this. And then, of course, Amazon has the hope at the end of the 3 months that they're going to sign up for the service. And, I have all that with Amazon anyway, because that's, I think you get it if you're a Prime member, especially. I've got all that stuff through Amazon.
Yeah, if you're a Prime member, you get Amazon Music anyway, just like you get like the very base Audible subscription.
See, there's this huge solution here, and honestly, if Disney wanted to do remakes, they should just hand it over to the team at South Park, because at least then we know we're getting satire and entertainment at the same time. Because I can watch South Park, like even their Avengers spoofs, and that is more memorable lately than anything I've gotten out of Marvel in the last, let's say, 2 years. The marketing doesn't change that. The marketing spending money doesn't fix that. Look at Bud Light. They're constantly spending money right now to make up for their losses, and it's going nowhere. The damage is done. Disney is now a toxin on any brand that is associated with them. You don't hear the brand, you just hear Disney and then their track record. You can't bury those bodies because those bodies keep popping up the next day on Twitter. They've done enough damage. It's like, here's your Disney princess and here's your body bag. Thank you, Dexter. It's the same stuff.
Yep. Well, it is a pattern. It seems now to have accumulated to the point that audiences have had enough. And so, whereas we once thought that perhaps Marvel films were just impervious to ever dropping because people continue to go in droves those first weekends, that is now the big deal, because that seems to have dropped. And as that drops, Marvel has to be feeling very, very nervous about everything.
Well, Pro, you mentioned something earlier about how Top Gun Maverick had kind of a soft opening initially, but then it boomed and it had legs and it just kept carrying forward, just kept going. It was little rocket-powered Energizer Bunny, right? Well, that's because of positive word of mouth. And word of mouth is incredibly powerful marketing, and it can work for you or against you. And we have seen it work positively in terms of Super Mario Brothers, in terms of Top Gun Maverick. It worked positively for, however you feel about it, Jurassic World Dominion, because that movie did very well. But then you look and see more of the recent Marvel movies or DC movies or just Disney in general, whether it's Pixar, whether it's, their live action remakes. People will go opening weekend and then it tanks. It drops off. It drops off the face of the earth as if the earth was still considered flat or something, because the people that did go were like,
it's not
what
this was not worth my time. This was not worth the $85 that it cost for me and my girlfriend to go and each get a popcorn and a Coke.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's one more
Top
thing
Gun Maverick's tracking and Mario's tracking day to day are right on top of one another, and still to this point, 29 whatever the hell days in we are. But it's like you said, it's the word of mouth. Disney already knows. I promise you, they already know, because the whole industry already knows. This movie has to make its nut in the first weekend, especially after Antman. Antman, in its first 3 days, did 50% of its total business. That's where we are now with Marvel. It's not the first 5 to 6 days anymore. Now it's the first 3 days. That's how bad things could get for Guardians. Now, I think it's going to leg out better than Ant-Man, to be fair. But maybe that's
I think, because of the precedent that we have with the first two.
Right. Yeah. Maybe it goes to 225. Maybe it gets as high as 2.5. But that's why I'm like, I said in the video, I'm like, it's 650 would be nice, but this movie's probably still going to struggle to get to 6 million or 600.
I still think there's also another factor here, and it might sound kind of far reach, but this has to be thrown in there. We have to look at Nintendo's success right now with Mario Brothers. We also have an upcoming release of the Tears of the Kingdom, right? Tears of the Kingdom. That is releasing on May 12th, right? So let's put it this way: as a parent, and your kid has a Switch, loves Zelda, loves Mario, you're going to ask your kid, what do you want to do? Do you want to get a new game, or do you want to go see a movie? Pretty much the kid's probably going to say the game, because like we've seen in the chat, people of 9, 12, 13, however it is, they're bored with Disney. Video game culture is now pushing it as a landslide. So video game sales in between these movie releases will also affect them, in my belief. And I think the Zelda game coming is also going to have a major effect, not only good for Nintendo, but bad for every franchise that's associated with Disney.
A mom, a dad, and a kid going to a movie theater these days to see a movie is more expensive than buying a video game.
Especially if you factor in like getting a large popcorn.
Yeah.
And butter, and that little that powder stuff that goes on top of it. But yeah,
you
and
gotta
honestly,
get the
Candy.
different kettle corn powder and the garlic powder on that.
nibs and popcorn, yeah.
stuff.
And if
That's
fork
why
to
I
take
was
me
so
out.
impressed when I went to see the 3D showing of Super Mario, and the whole place was packed, families, and that upcharge is expensive. That they would put money for on that particular movie because it was just so good.
Oh yeah, I saw it in IMAX 3D, and I thankfully I'm like 5 minutes away from my local IMAX theater, so I will slot in there into the showing that's like right before everybody gets off of work. So no matter how big or how good the movie is, it's almost a dead theater. But then on my way out the doors, the place is just flooding. And you see, I saw families dressed up as Mario, Luigi, Peach, Wario, Waluigi.
Saw that too.
I did too.
I saw. God bless this father. He had a Toad hat on. It was
And
great.
God
I'm
bless
like,
whoever was behind him in the theater.
And these people are all about it. They are so here for this, and this movie is going to do stellar. And I went and saw the early showing, and so what was it, a Thursday or whatever it was, and obviously the rest is history. The movie is going phenomenally at the box office.
Absolutely. Now, guys, speaking about, go ahead, Stephen.
That was one more thing. It was pretty much a rhetorical kind of question, even to the chat and the panel. Just a simple question. Do you take everything we know about Disney and everything about the rhetoric they've done, all the crap that's been going, let's say, for the last 10 years. You hear the announcement about Little Mermaid 2023. Now, ask yourself, do you have any drive to watch it? Not as a content creator, but as a person who usually goes to the theater. Before YouTube, like, honestly, ask yourself that question. And that probably is magnified by a couple million down the road.
If I didn't have to review it, there is no way in this world I would go see it.
Yeah.
I have no desire to see The Little Mermaid.
I wouldn't. Now, if they would have put the original Little Mermaid in the theater,
at the same time,
I'd go see that.
Or if they had surprised everyone and decided to actually cast.
Hello, Stephen. I'm calling
Ariel.
to see if you'd like pineapple on your pizza today. Folks, if you would like pineapple on your pizza, drop a pineapple pizza emoji at this time.
Next time, I'll just answer the telemarketer for you.
That is the devil's work, pro. I don't accept that there. Pineapple on pizza.
But that's just it. Look at the excitement for Mario. Like, you're right. But now look at the stuff that's going on now. No one cares. No one is doing it either because it's either for like hate watching, or they need to do it for review to make invasive criticism. Nobody cares anymore because there's no magic. And that's the key word there. Key word, whether it be emotional, mental, physical, however these things affect you, it is no longer there. All that's leaving is a bad taste in your mouth. Your wallet is closed, like I said before, but they don't want to be angry anymore. They just turn away.
Yeah, you'll get your
Absolutely.
pixie dusters who'll go out
Well,
there.
I don't count them.
Yeah,
They
the heavy
think
dosage.
the world's flat.
Yeah.
They're not real people.
I'm just here's the thing. I'm just saying that in reality, and we kind of have to think about this. In reality, you're gonna have your hardcore pixie dusters that are gonna go to see this film. Doesn't mean
Absolutely.
it's
And
gonna make a
Lorena,
whole
you know who
bunch,
else?
but no.
You know
Well,
who else
the
is
thing
going to go
is,
see it?
they'll see
People
it
who haven't been
weekend
paying
one.
attention to any of this and just think, oh, Little Mermaid, cool.
Exactly. Normies who have not been paying attention. I mean, we do this, all the time, but your bog standard whoever is just like, oh, Little Mermaid movie. Yeah, okay, I'll go and take the kids to that. Get out and say, oh my God, that movie was.
Yeah, they're going to come out and tell their friends, oh my
fantastic.
gosh,
I
it was
need
2
that.
hours plus.
And then in the car line at school, they're going to say, no, don't go to see that movie.
Well, that's an important
Don't go
point.
see
And
it.
that's a point I've impressed upon before here, I think, as well as over on the High Council over on WCBS, where for a long time, these companies, whether it's Star Wars, Marvel, DC, what have you, they have been catering almost exclusively to that general audience normie, and at the expense of, and just with both hands throwing out the hardcore fan. Those hardcore fans were the ones that we don't just go to see the movie once. We go to see it twice, 3 times. We buy the t-shirt. We buy the big special limited edition popcorn bucket that's $45. We buy the action figures. We buy all of that stuff. Whereas the normies, they'll go see it once, maybe twice in the theater, and that's it. Maybe they'll buy a t-shirt, and then if you're lucky, they'll retweet you or something on social media. But you have sacrificed your basically guaranteed money, your hardcore demographic, for a very flighty audience. General audience normies, they are not fans. All they care about is being part of the conversation. And therefore, as soon as something is no longer exciting, no longer the big new thing, Look at the MCU right now. The MCU, nobody could shut up about it for a decade. Now, nobody cares. And we see them. They already lost their hardcore fans. I was one of them. And now they're losing the normies. And so we're seeing that because those normies are the ones where you're going to see all of the talk about, that this wasn't good. Don't bother. And nobody's talking about it. So I'm not interested.